Our weekly check-in for the third week. Can you believe it? I'm up here in beautiful Hyattville, Wyoming. One of the best kept secrets about the somewhat lack of wind compared to the rest of Wyoming. So don't hold that against me. I've kind of held off a little bit. Maybe you've gotten to know me through my videos and that sort of thing, and having the chance to visit with a few of you through the first weeks of classes. But we live on a small farm up here. It's a postage stamp size farm, but I help out. I'm on the canal board and actually the treasurer, and work on the predator board and the weed and pest, and I have quite a few interests around here, not to be braggadocious, but just to get to know what my interests are at this point. Was a livestock guy most of my life. We ran cattle as many years ago actually, but ran an outfitting company. We would take 100 to 150 elk hunters. Well, we did a few mule deer hunts and some antelope hunts early on, but we found out that we had a better marketplace with the elk hunting that we had in our areas, and had a better angle on that as far as that goes. So anyway, learned from the School of Hard Knocks in school. I have a few degrees, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, the Hard Knocks degree pretty much got me where I am at this point. And I really love business. I love working with people. I really love working with young people that are interested or entrepreneurial or wanting to start a business. So I've worked with a lot of people that way. Not that I have all the answers or anything like that, but I put together this management class, and I've included some of the pitfalls that, having been in business, had to learn on the fly, and some things for you to think about before you start your own business. Or, I mean, if you're in business and can apply some of these things to see what works and what doesn't, and it's really an interesting avenue of life. We live in a country where it's still okay to have a small business, and I won't say too much other than that. But as far as the class, I appreciate all those that are actively participating. I'm going to award those people that get in, get it done. Yep, you have till Friday to do things. Quizzes, it's just like in class. If you're not prepared, you still have to take the quiz by Friday. And I just don't want you to fall behind. And in business, you get a test. You get tested many times a day, typically. So don't think that this is an unfair to anybody. I just want you to get seasoned a little bit in that regard, any of those. And I appreciate, I'm speaking to the choir to a certain degree, because most of you have gotten things in on time up to this point. And just a little bit of an aside on that. And there's been a few people that I've communicated with, whether by phone or text or email, that, well, yeah, I know you're at the stock show or you had a rodeo, and we're not able to complete an assignment, but I want you to kind of think about it a different way. If you're in business, whether you have extracurricular activities or not, you're expected to get things done. You're expected to perform, and if you have character, you are expected to keep your word. Now, we don't live in a perfect world, and I understand that. Extraordinary things, unscheduled things do come up, and I certainly want you to contact me as early as possible if those things do come up. God, family, and a few other things they're way up on the priority list for me, and they are for you as well, and they should be. And so if extraordinary things happen in your life, assignments don't matter, or they can be changed. And I just want you to know that if you communicate with me, especially at the earliest possible time, that the world and the people that you interact with will accommodate you, as I will. I guarantee you that. And try to do it in the fairest way. But if you have a scheduled event, I'm going to be in Denver. Not to pick on you guys. I love the fact that you're down there showing livestock at the Denver National. What great experience. You're going to make some great contacts. I was a competitive athlete in college myself, so you rodeo folks, I love the fact that you're doing something else. And but that rodeo is scheduled. So that means that you're going to have to work it out for yourself, but you're probably going to have to do things ahead of time in order to satisfy the requirements of this course and some of the other courses. And it may feel like a huge burden, but if you take it early and you treat it like eating an elephant, as they say, you do it one bite at a time, things aren't that complicated. I was just visiting with a personal friend of mine, and he was talking about the fact that, and I'm not putting you down. Obviously with my gray hair and everything else, you understand that I've been in this deal for a long time, the thing called life. But life is going to get complicated for you, and how you deal with the complications and get things done and stick to your word and do business is going to matter later in life, even more than it does right now. But changing some of those habits, or getting into a habit of getting things done and getting them done earlier, will help you through your journey into that venue. And I wish you all tons of success. People will accommodate those people that try the hardest at those kinds of things. I know that from personal experience, and I'm sure that you've been on you've seen that in action in your own lives as well. But not to get on anybody, it's a learning. Life is such a infectiously learning experience when you're curious on how you can make things better. So hopefully maybe that little discussion was helpful to you. So this week, it's going to feel like there's a few more things that are due. I have assigned some assignments or some reading assignments out of the EntreLeadership book. I realize that some of you haven't received the book, and that's normal in this class that you haven't received it. I have you order them directly from the publisher for a couple of reasons that I don't want to get into right now, but I know that it is coming. I want you to have it. That EntreLeadership book is a reference book that I think is one of the best business books for anybody that wants to start a business. And if you keep that as a reference, it'll be helpful if you do actually read it. I have assigned last week and this week a chapter to read. Okay, if you don't have the book, you can wait and then read that on your own time. I've supplied everything that I think necessary to complete the assignments for this week. With the videos that I've put in here, I've worked into the class schedule itself so that if you get on the ordering of those texts, and you won't have a problem. It'll get here in time for when we really need to use it. So don't let me know if it doesn't come in, okay? But I've worked that into our schedule. The first couple things, we're going to talk about decision making this week. And I've got several videos here that I've put together that I think kind of hit the key points and discussions on that. If you have any questions on any of that kind of stuff, maybe even they're oppositional type discussions. I'm always up for that kind of stuff. Not that I need to defend too much of it, but I'm always looking for other people's point of view, especially those that have been in business as well, because I've only seen, maybe a couple of different sides of an issue, and sometimes there's many. So I'm going to introduce a lab right here that's in a book form, and it'll have several different things and iterations for you to get through on gossip and what it can do in business. One of the major things, if you have the greatest business vision of all kinds of things, if there is more than one person in your business, it can be family, it can be employees, or both. If gossip is allowed to run wild in your company, it can actually bring it to its knees. And we'll discuss within what we have for you, how to maybe remedy it if it is something that is getting started or is rampant in a business, and also how to thwart it or stop it in its tracks or actually minimize it. I'm not so sure that you ever minimize it. You might have to get a thicker skin if you're at the top end of or in the executive area of any business, but because some things matter and some things don't, and a little thicker skin was one of the things that helped me out. And as I studied other business leaders, it definitely was something that enhanced their leadership skills. So there will be also an assignment for that. Now, for both of these discussions, the decision-making process and then the gossip, what I'm essentially doing is having you write down your notes. And what I expect from that is that you would take notes while you're going through the discussion. You don't have to add, and again, as I said earlier, if you disagree with something, put it down. Or your knowledge or your experience doesn't agree with what is happening within the discussion. It's kind of a one-way thing until you make it a two-way street in those kinds of things. So, I'm not going to dock you for disagreeing with something, but give me a reason why you might disagree with whatever is being discussed or a question that's being asked. So I'm having you rewrite. I would like you to organize those notes. Make some notes. This is what I typically do. Your method might be a little bit different, but as I'm going through there, I can stop it. I can pause the video and then write down a few notes, and then I can move it on. But then I go back and I rewrite those notes in a more organized fashion, answering those questions that I have for the study guides. And that's just to organize your thinking about what I think are pretty essential questions as you go through those discussions. So it's just a study guide for you. And the only time that you'll be tested on it, other than I have a few quizzes here and there throughout the course, but when you jump into business, and most of you, by the way, are in business and have been from an early age, like many of us in ag. So you you certainly can glean a few things from them, I'm sure. So just have a few things. Here's where you turn it in. And I do have just a few questions on the mission statement and decision-making quiz. Again, quizzes, okay, just to go over it, I don't have any forums due this week, but we'll talk about them. The forums are due the week that they're assigned, okay? And I want, the reason for that is because it's what I'm trying to replicate in a classroom is that, or in a group setting, is that we would discuss that. You know, it wouldn't just be what I have to present in a discussion. It would be what that means to you and what your experiences was from this side of the classroom and from the back of the classroom and those kinds of things. So, you know, if you add something to it, you know, next week or in 2 weeks, then it doesn't really mean too much. Students will be going through those. My plan and my hope is that you would read other students just to get a perspective of what could happen. So those are due in that week, as I've said before. Assignments, I give you a little bit of leeway. Don't use it too hard, is what I would say. Again, you know, things are due on Friday. I'll give you up to 100% on the assignments if you turn them in on time on the Friday. I do allow for turning that assignment in the following week, up to the following week, for up to 75%. Okay? And again, you know, most of these assignments are writing down your notes. Okay? Now, look at it from the perspective of the coach or teacher that I happen to be in this course. They're your notes. They're how you would organize and use them again someday. Now, I'm especially not going to be too difficult as long as you actually answer the questions that I have for you. Okay? So answer them thoroughly. Some people can come up with a great answer in a sentence or two, and some people have to really explain things to get to the point. I understand that. I've been doing this. I've had thousands of students up to this point, and I appreciate that. Whichever end of the spectrum you are, answer the question as fully as you can. Okay? So, assignments, you can turn them in, but they're only worth 75%, of up to 75%. And quizzes, the last thing, they're also due the week they're assigned. You might be on a judging, you might be, you know, representing Casper College at a national event. But this is college, and not to be too hard, but you're expected to actually take those, whether you're prepared or not. And so I guess I want you to be prepared, but if you're not, take the quiz. Get all the points you can. We are going to have about 1,500 points in this semester. So you have plenty of chances to climb back in if things aren't going your way. If they aren't, then I would encourage you to reach out to me, and we'll go over some things, and maybe I can give you some helpful hints. That's what I'm here for, on how to stay abreast of this course, and maybe some of your other ones too, by the way. So anyway, I'm on your team. You may not feel like it at times. I know it may seem like a burden, especially when you're taking maybe up to 4 or 5 other classes, but you can do this. As they say in one of the old movies you might have recognized, you can do this. Okay, so I'm over and out. This is a little extended check-in video. They won't be as long next time, but again, I wish you well. Let me know what your questions are. You can email me, text me if you like. be sure and put your name in it so I know who's texting me. I don't have your phone numbers saved in my phone, but I do give it to you in my phone so that you can reach out to me. And I especially love to hear from you if you want to give me a call. Okay? And I certainly will take the time and call you back if you leave a message. Thank you.